Good morning to all and welcome to the session, the Hindu Editorial Analysis for Proficiency in English. Today's editorial is all about the Prime Minister's visit to Australia. Any editorial like this touches a few questions like what was the objective, what has been achieved, and usually touches three spheres. One, what happened on the economic front. Second, what happened on the political front. Third, what happened on the social front. This editorial also touches those areas, and there are some important words. Usually, when the prime minister of a particular country visits, especially from our country today, Indians are spread all over the world. So the editorial also has to touch the diaspora in Australia, and these are the areas touched by the editorial. Besides the editorial, today you're going to work on spot the errors coming to practice questions, Jumble, Cloze Test, and word profile. Let us go to editorial vocabulary. The first one, bipartisan. Easy to make out, bi means two. So, whose birthday is this? Many happy returns of the day, Madhavi. Have a great day. Bipartisan, part of speech adjective. It goes with the ties between two countries. Bi means two. Di also means two. Supported by or consisting of two political parties. Philip, it also goes with everyday English, and here it goes with written English. My blessings are always there. God bless you. Philip, noun, something that causes a sudden improvement. Philip. It has given a Philip means what? It has something causes a sudden improvement. Constraint I use regularly. There is a constraint. What is it? Guys, wish her. Today it is Madhavi's birthday. Constraint part of speech noun. Something that controls what you do by keeping you within particular limits. Constraint means limitation. And constraint verb form, constraint noun form. An important word. While writing, sometimes I say, I use a small thing here. It's like a tab. So there is a constraint, space constraint. Sojourn, we have got for the first time an important word, part of speech noun. A short period when a person stays in a particular place. The Prime Minister's visit to Australia, a short visit, a short period, sojourn, an important word. Spotlight can be a noun, can be a verb, and usually it is a noun. It can be an adjective as well. But as a noun, usually it goes with the theater. It goes with on stage. Usually they use a spotlight. But here, spotlight means it goes with a person receiving a lot of public attention. Someone receives a lot of public attention, then we use the word spotlight. He is in the spotlight. She is in the spotlight. For that, there's one idiomatic expression. We also say, he has been or he is in the limelight. To be in the limelight means to receive a lot of public attention. Everyone talks about that person. Substantial, one word. Substantive, another word. Part of speech, adjective. Important, serious, or related to real facts. Here you can take the word important, substantive, important. Stance. Stance means part of speech noun. A way of thinking about something, especially expressed in a publicly stated opinion. You have already got this word, stance. Exalted, exalt verb, exalted, it's a regular verb. What does it mean? To express great pleasure or happiness, especially at someone else's defeat or failure. Not exactly in this context. It means we have to stop here. To express great pleasure or happiness. Mammoth. Mammoth actually a noun, an animal. And it has become extinct. Woolly mammoth. A big, huge animal looks like an elephant with fur on its body. But here, as an adjective, it means extremely large. Woolly mammoths, very big, but they have become extinct. Now, because of cloning, you all have to know one word, cloning. Scientists, because of cloning, scientists are in a position to create a woolly mammoth with the help of cloning. They may not do that because it is legally banned. Vandalism, an important word. Vandal, today that is a word of the day. Vandal, vandalism, vandalize. Here, noun form. The crime of intentionally damaging property belonging to other people. Usually it goes with public property, not other people. Imagine you go to a tourist place and there's a monument, someone tries to damage, and also public property. Whenever there's a crime, whenever there are clashes, a crowd, a mob tries to spoil or destroy the public property, then we use the term vandalism. Deface, verb, to damage and spoil the appearance of something by writing or drawing on it. So these are synonyms in a way. Graffiti, part of speech noun. Words or drawings, especially humorous, rude, or political, on walls, doors, in public places. Graffiti. In our country, graffiti is not that popular. But if you go to Australia, there are graffiti artists. Graffiti is very popular. And US also in the past, it was conducive adjective. It goes with conducive environment, conducive atmosphere, providing the right conditions for something good to happen or exist. It is a positive word. Diaspora, as I said, today Indians are spread across the world. There are some Indians in the US, then we use the term diaspora. In this context, there are a lot of Indians in Australia. All those Indians, we use the term diaspora. A group of people who spread from one original country to other countries, or the act of spreading in this way, migrating. These are the words from the editorial. Let us go to the actual editorial. How does it start? It is all about the ties between bilateral ties, the ties between India and Australia, ties that bind, and these ties they bind. On India Australia ties and the Modi visit. Here they have used a definite article the. On India Australia ties and the Modi visit. But what is the main idea of this editorial? The Narendra Modi visit to Australia adds to the bipartisan strength of growing bonds. Adds to. Whatever is in green, grammar related. It is in present, it adds to. What adds to the visit? Adds to the bipartisan, an important word, supported by or consisting of two political parties, in this context, two countries. Strength of growing bonds. Prime Minister Narendra Modi's 3-day visit to Australia this week coincided with, coincide takes a preposition with, a year since Labour Party leader Anthony Albanese was elected Prime Minister. He was elected, past tense passive voice, and gave a fillip to growing bipartisan ties. Gave. All the verbs in the past, the entire context goes into the past. Gave what? A fillip. Fillip is a new word we have got for the first time in the recent past. Something that causes a sudden improvement. And it is a positive word, it has a positive connotation. So what does the sentence mean? It is about the Prime Minister's visit, and this visit coincided with a year since Labour Party leader Anthony Albanese was elected Prime Minister. That means what? Last year Anthony Albanese was elected Prime Minister, same time. So it coincided with that. That is one dimension. The other dimension, the visit gave a fillip, that is a positive thing, to growing bipartisan ties. So gave a fillip means sudden, cause sudden improvement to what? Growing bipartisan ties, ties between the two countries. While his visit was originally planned for a multilateral event, his visit was originally planned, again in the past, for a multilateral event, the meeting of the Quad, it transformed into a purely bilateral visit. Initially, the objective was to have a multilateral event, but because of two reasons, not one reason, it transformed. Transform means what? Change. It transformed into a purely bilateral visit to Australia. And the reason for that, after the US president pull out means not to participate in this context, over domestic political constraints. US President was to participate, but he did not. He pulled out, means he decided not to attend. What was the reason? Over domestic political constraints. Here we have a word constraint. Initially, it was planned for a multilateral event, but eventually, what happened? It transformed into a purely bilateral visit between to Australia. The reasons: first reason, the U.S. president pulled out. That is a phrasal verb, an important one. I should have brought it in green. Pulled out, pull out of a particular event, not to attend, over domestic political constraints. Constraint noun, and what sort of a constraint? Political constraint means what? Something that controls what you do by keeping you within particular limits. Simple meaning of constraint, limitation, restriction. Another reason Japanese Prime Minister Fumio Kishida followed suit means he followed in the footsteps of the US President, and a shortened Quad summit was held in Hiroshima. Shortened. Initially, it was perhaps they must have planned for 3 days or 4 days, but it was shortened. Quad summit was held. It was held, again, past passive voice, in Hiroshima. Because of these two reasons, it transformed, it changed into a purely bilateral visit. As a result, Mr. Modi's Sydney sojourn, an important word. Sojourn means a short period when a person stays in a particular place. As a result, Mr. Modi's Sydney sojourn was much more in the spotlight. Because of that, his visit to Sydney or Australia came into the spotlight. Spotlight, two meanings. As a noun, spotlight means the light that is focused on a particular actor, usually on stage. It is used on stage, theater. Also, it goes with the shooting, film shooting. But in this context, a spotlight means a person who receives a lot of public attention, a person who is in the limelight or something that is in the limelight. Entire press or entire media talks about something. Then we say the issue is in the spotlight. We also say the issue has been in the limelight, was much more in the spotlight, particularly his address to the Indian community. A lot of Indians are there in Australia, particularly his address to the Indian community, which Mr. Albanese joined in. That time, Mr. Albanese joined, as well as the address to business groups. Mr. Modi addressed the Indian diaspora, one group, and also as well as an important expression. You have to recollect the rule. What is a rule? When we use expressions like with, together with, along with, as well as, the verb agrees with the first subject. And there are more, in fact, I cannot tell all those, like, unlike, besides, in addition, nothing but, no less than, rather than, and not. Even these you have to recollect. In what was their sixth such meeting in the past year? Their sixth such meeting in the past year, the announcements from the Modi Albanese meet included. It was a meet, they addressed one Indian diaspora, the other business community, and this sentence is about what exactly they said. The announcements from the Modi Albanese meet included opening an Australian consulate in Bangalore and an Indian consulate in Brisbane, an agreement on migration and mobility, and the finalization of terms of reference for an India-Australia Green Hydrogen Task Force. A lengthy sentence, but it is about what? It is about agreement. Usually, when the Prime Minister visits a particular country, they try to come up with something on the economic front, something on the political front, and they go in for agreements. So this sentence is about the announcements from the Modi Albanese meet included: one, opening an Australian consulate in Bangalore; second, an Indian consulate in Brisbane. Here I would like to tell something interesting. Usually, a lot of people think the capital of Australia is Sydney. Capital of Australia is not Sydney, it is Canberra. Canberra is the capital. An Indian consulate in Brisbane, and the other one, an agreement on migration and mobility. Migration and mobility. And the third one, the finalization of terms of reference for an India-Australia Green Hydrogen Task Force. Besides these, defense and security ties, cooperation on renewable energy, and critical minerals were also part of. Not only those, some more defense and security ties, cooperation on renewable energy or non-conventional energy, and critical minerals were also part of the substantive agenda. This is an important word. Substantive means what? Important, serious, or related to real facts. I use quite often. I use substantial. Substantial means considerable. It goes with growth, development, improvement. Imagine initially a student, he would get 3 marks or 4 marks. Eventually, after 4 or 5 months, he started getting 30, 35. Then we say there is substantial improvement. There is phenomenal. The improvement is phenomenal. Substantive agenda. Whenever there is a meeting, they have a list of things to be discussed, and that is known as agenda. I'm sure you all know. As was a need to sign a comprehensive economic cooperation agreement by December. The entire sentence talk two sentences. They talk about the agreements and what they decided. Future on international, as I said, there are certain areas they always touch. One, economic front; second, political front; and whatever the previous two sentences on the economic front, and a few on political front. Coming to this international front, on international issues, despite their differing stances, despite there are two prepositions, they have the same function, contrast. They express what? Contrast. Despite of a common error. Despite does not take the preposition of, that you have to recollect. And the other one, in spite of. People make a mistake over there. They write in spite one word of one word. No, in spite of three separate words. And if you wonder what is the difference between despite and in spite of, despite is a little more formal than in spite of. Despite their differing stances, differ means not to agree. Stances. We have already got this word, a way of thinking about something, especially expressed in a publicly stated opinion. You can also say the stand taken by someone. Stances on Russia's invasion of Ukraine and Western sanctions. A different stand. India has taken a different stand, and Australia has taken a different stand. Despite that, they found continuing and common cause on maintaining a free and open Indo Pacific and dealing with an aggressive China. When it comes to these two aspects, there is some common ground. That's what the sentence says. However, it was a celebration as well as the concerns of the Indian origin community that appeared to overshadow all else. Everything else, you can also say. However is used to express contrasting information. It was a celebration as well as the concerns of the Indian origin community that appeared to overshadow all else. It has a negative connotation. Earlier positive, now this sentence is negative. What does it say? Celebration as well as concerns over the Indian origin community that appear to overshadow. That means other things did not look that important. This has come into the forefront. Overshadow all else. Other things have been overshadowed. They lost their importance. Based on that, the editorial has taken a stand. While both leaders exulted in the mammoth crowd, exult an important word, to express great pleasure or happiness. In the mammoth crowd, mammoth as such is an animal, it's a noun, but it has become extinct. But here, crowd is a noun, so it is obvious that mammoth crowd, mammoth means what? Part of speech, adjective, means extremely large, exulted in the mammoth crowd at Sydney's Superdome. Mr. Modi said that the real reason, the real power behind the bilateral relations came from people of Indian origin in Australia. Modi made a statement, Mr. Modi made a statement, the Prime Minister made a statement, said that the real reason, the real power behind the bilateral relations came from what was the source? People of Indian origin in Australia. Yes, that is right. On the subsequent morning, next morning, activities of other groups and conflicts. First one, positive. This one, here, this sentence is about celebration as well as the concerns. This sentence is about celebration. This one is about concerns. On the subsequent morning, activities of other groups and conflicts also tracing back to people of Indian origin were discussed. Conflicts, activities of other groups, and conflicts also tracing back to people of Indian origin were discussed. As Mr. Modi repeated his concerns over vandalism and attacks defacing community centers and temples with pro Khalistani, anti India, and anti Modi graffiti. There are three words you have to learn here. One, vandalism, damaging public property. Defacing, that also means the same. Graffiti, someone goes to a public place, usually a monument, they write something that is known as graffiti. These had been all these are concerns. These had been raised during Mr. Albanese's visit to India in March. This is not the first time. It happened in the past. Had been raised. Because of that, it is in past perfect. These had been raised during Mr. Albanese's visit to India in March. While any attack on an Indian consulate is a valid bilateral concern, imagine there's an attack on Indian consulate in Australia. Editorial opines it is a valid bilateral concern. New Delhi must consider how much attention it wishes to pay to attacks by Australian citizens and Australian property. Here it refers to Indians who are settled in Australia. They obviously become Australian citizens. This sentence means if they raise concern regarding attacks on Indian consulate, it is a valid bilateral concern. But when it comes to talking about or raising concern regarding attacks by Australian citizens on Australian citizens and Australian property, whether it is valid or not, New Delhi must consider how much attention it wishes to pay. It has to be considered carefully. Based on that, the editorial opines, while the growing incidents may be cause for worry, obviously they are a cause for worry, it is by no means clear that giving them center stage during such visits is conducive. It is by no means clear that. It is a bit vague, not clear, ambiguous. It is by no means clear that giving them center stage means giving a lot of importance during such visits is conducive to strengthening the common understanding between both countries. The earlier sentence, one of the sentences, overshadowing, remember the word overshadow? Everything else, all else was overshadowed and the concerns were brought to the center stage. Now the editorial opines, can it be justified, not clear, giving them center stage during such visits? And it also opines it is not conducive. There is one important word, conducive, providing the right conditions for something good to happen or exist. Conducive to strengthening the common understanding between both countries or in the best interest of the three Ds. Mr. Modi said, bind the two countries today. There are three Ds that bind the two countries, India and Australia, today. What are those three Ds? Democracy, diaspora, Indians in Australia, and dosti, friendship. It ends on that particular note. The sentence is about to what extent it can be justified, bringing those concerns to the center stage, making all of the issues getting overshadowed. To what extent it can be justified. Let us go to questions based on comprehension. Based on this editorial, you have to write in brief what is this editorial about. What adds to the bipartisan strength of growing bonds? Easy to answer based on keywords. Why was a visit transformed into a purely bilateral visit? Here you have to rephrase your and write your answer. Why was a visit transformed into a purely bilateral visit? You cannot take from the editorial and write as answer. You have to rephrase. So, in my opinion, this is an important question. Where did the real reason, the real power behind the bilateral relations come from? Where did it come from? The source, again, easy to answer. What are the three Ds in the context of the editorial? The Prime Minister talked about three Ds. What are the three Ds in the context of the editorial? Easy to answer. Let us go to practice questions based on exam topics. And first five questions are related to error location. Read the first one and try to spot the error. Someone has already written Dharani, democracy, diaspora, dosti, that is friendship. Perfect. But it is always better if you write the complete answer. The three Ds mentioned by the Prime Minister are democracy, diaspora, and dosti. That is a complete answer, and that will help in improving your writing skill. That is objective in bringing these questions. I appreciate, Dharani, you have written all the three words, but better if you write the answer using the appropriate verb, the appropriate subject, and complete sentence. In the first floor, a family was celebrating a child's birthday party when I went there. Where is the error? No one has responded the first one. I've given so much time. Ajay has got it right. It's a common error when it comes to floors, the first, the second. People use the wrong preposition. They tend to say, where do you live? I live in the first floor. In the first floor is not correct. That is good. It has to be on the first floor. So never say in the first floor, in the second floor. That's a common error. You have to say, no, no, here it is not past perfect. Something happened, that time something was going on. What happened? I went there. That time something was going on. What was going on? A family was celebrating past continuous. This goes with the first use of past continuous tense. Error on the first floor, not in the first floor. There is one more you have to recollect. A lot of people say in the campus, not correct. On the campus is something is in the campus. No, on the campus. Same way on the second floor, any floor for that matter. And here one more thing you have to, when you use ordinal numbers, you have to use a definite article the. Where is this? In the flat. Huh, of course you can. Not on the flat. Ajay. There you have to use in. In the apartment, in the flat. But when you talk about the floor, you have to use a preposition on. Please go to question number 2. I have already told you guys, whenever you come across the word if, you have to become alert and you have to think of conditionals. All the conditionals, open conditional, hypothetical conditional, past conditional, zero conditional. And look for the error. That way you can save your time. If this crisis continues, read the sentence carefully. If this crisis continues, we will not be able to guarantee, we won't be able to guarantee stable supplies of food, medicines, and other essential goods. No, nothing wrong with medicines. Perfect. Ajay has got it right. Answer is no error. Please respect the fifth option. No error. If this crisis continues, if clause in present tense, we won't be able to guarantee main clause in future tense. That means open conditional. Present conditionals are two in number. One open conditional, the other hypothetical conditional. This is open conditional, nothing wrong. We won't be able to guarantee what? Stable supplies, again of what? Food, medicines, and other essential goods, nothing wrong. Answer is no error. That's wonderful. When you use floor, it is always on, never in. Who is this? Naveen Kumar. Whether it is the first one or the second one or the top, on the top floor, not in the top floor. Floor is a flat surface. We cannot use a preposition in. Yes, Girija has got it right, and she has written the pattern for open conditional. If clause present tense, main clause future tense. Please go to question number 3. At the end of Cold War, America's President George H.W. Bush popularized the idea that cutting defense spending would boost the economy. All these questions, wonderful, Ajay, I appreciate. Within no time, I'm shocked. A pleasant surprise. First one, only one, and within no time. Here, the moment you see war, you have to recollect the rule that goes with articles. Before wars, mutinies, revolutions, we have to use a definite article, the. Wars, mutinies, revolutions, in a way related. The First World War, the Cold War, based on that here, the Cold War. Not an easy one, but I'm surprised. Govardhan, Thapa, Dharani, all these students, great. Mutiny, the Sepoy Mutiny, the French Revolution, the American Revolution. Recollect the related information. That way you can consolidate your knowledge. Please go to question number 4. As a technology proliferates, you have got this word recently, proliferate, to spread quickly. And I have given one idiomatic expression, mushroom growth, proliferation of something, mushroom growth of something. Read the sentence. As a technology proliferates, so do concerns about the accuracy of information provided by these tools and how reliable they might be in safety critical areas like healthcare. No, nothing wrong with concerns. Again, same wavelength. 4 or 5 students have responded. All of them say concern, no, nothing wrong with concerns. No one has got it right. Answer is no error. As the technology proliferates, so do concerns. This is used for emphasis. So do concerns about the accuracy of information provided by these tools and how reliable they might be in safety critical areas like healthcare. Perfect, no error. Sometimes what happens, error location, usually they give 5 questions. Sometimes intentionally, deliberately, they may give 3 questions, answer the 5th option, no error. Don't doubt yourself in that situation. There's every possibility. They may give 4, no error, just to see your confidence. Because to choose this option, no error, you got to be very good at English. You got to be very confident. That is not possible, not that easy under pressure. Please go to question number 5. After once seeming as if it may threaten to remake the entire financial system, cryptocurrency has gone through a spectacular decline. Usually the word spectacular has a positive connotation. You have to read, put you under pressure to confuse you people. How come 3 sentences? No error. You start thinking, you wonder. But be confident. Believe in yourself. Nothing wrong with the word threaten. No. I'm surprised. Same word, 2 students. No. Third one also threat. There's a clue. An easy one. This is an easy one. Ajay also. No, this time you haven't got it right, Ajay. No one has got it right. Looks like you all have the same wavelength. All the students, those who have responded, they have written only one word, threat. No. Here, whenever you come across, there are 2 expressions. As if, as though. When you come across these 2 expressions, the verb should be in the past form. Based on that, here it is not may, it is might. As if it might threaten, not may threaten. Tapa has got it right, now I see. And also Naidu Paidi. This para jumble today, the other day, tough one, today, an easy one. You should get this para jumble. Any para jumble, try to take elimination approach, and first you get the topic sentence. The sentence with the main idea, that is the first sentence. For that, you have to take elimination approach. The most populous in the country cannot be the first one. The vote cannot be the first one. Pronoun cannot be the first one. Hold this. A former education minister is polling far ahead of her rivals, cannot be the first one. So, what is the first one here? Based on elimination approach, easy. D is the first one. On June 4th, voters in the state of Mexico, comma, that means it is not complete. No, no, not E. Suresh has got it right. A is the second one. The state of Mexico, the most populous in the country of the same name, will elect a new governor. State of Mexico is the most populous state in the country of the same name. Name of the state is Mexico. Name of the country is also Mexico. Will elect a new governor. DA one pair. What is the third one? Voters. That is a clue for the third one. Here no one has responded. The third one. No, the third one is B. Here, on June 4th, voters in the state of Mexico will elect a new governor. Based on that, the vote is widely seen. B is the third one. The vote is widely seen as a testing ground for a presidential election due next year. After that, easy. Delfina Gomez, a former education minister, is polling far ahead of her rivals. Here we have a noun, then a pronoun. She belongs to Morena, the party founded by Mexico's populist president, Andres Manuel Lopez Obrador. So what is the last one? DA one pair, EC one pair. In between you have B. Let us go to Cloze Test to provide the contextual awareness. This is something interesting. I brought it from an international magazine. You may get something like this as a passage or a Cloze Test or para jumble. I feel there is every possibility to get as a Cloze Test. It is something important and also talks about future, deals with environment. On so many fronts, it is important. First one. Today we see the birth of a new what? Species, declared Julio Friedman, gazing across a bleak landscape. Along with several hundred grandees, old people, the renowned energy technologist had traveled to a very good, Suresh. Corner takes the word, a remote corner. You have to know the combinations. Travel to a remote corner of Texas oil patch called No Trees at the end of April at the invitation of, I think, 1.5, a division of petroleum. What petroleum? This is a bit difficult. Third one. First one, easy, new species. Remote corner, easy. No, third one is not barren. Again, Suresh has got it right. It is Occidental. If you guys remember, I have given, when it comes to culture, I usually give 4 to 5 words. One, Western culture is known as Occidental culture. Eastern culture is known as Oriental culture. Occidental means Western, Oriental means Eastern. When we talk about culture, we also use words like traditions, traditional, and also conventional, and also conservative. I am giving the related words conservative, also orthodox. You have to recollect all these words. You guys have answered. An American oil firm and of carbon engineering, a Canadian technology startup backed by Bill Gates. The species in question is in see here. The species in question is in some ways similar to a tree. That's what you have to understand. For that, what is the word akin? Akin to a tree, similar to a tree, but not the biological sort. Nowhere to be seen on the, what are you left with? Barren terrain. The word barren goes with land. Land can be fertile, land can be barren. Barren, but here it has been used with terrain. Read this, an important one, but only part of the article. If you have access to the Economist magazine, this has been brought from the Economist magazine. I strongly believe you may get something like this in the exam. Let us go to words and meanings, the words you got yesterday. The first one, resolve. One student responds, then I will start giving the answers. Barren field, barren land, barren terrain, all these are combinations. Fertile land and also sterile. Fertile, not futile. Futile means a wasted effort. Perhaps you wanted to say fertile. Fertile opposite two words. If you are talking about land, barren. If you are talking about reproduction, sterile. Don't get confused. Resolve is a verb, obviously. What does it mean? To solve or end a problem. Reconcile, that is also a verb. What is the meaning of reconcile? One student responds, then I will write the answer. Futile attempt, sheer waste of time. That is a typical combination. One is over, go to the second one. Reconcile, what is the meaning? Find a way in which two opposing things exist, agree with each other, and continue. Find a way in which two opposing things exist or agree to each other and continue. Answer is J. Propel, verb. Propeller, noun. Propel. To push or move something with a lot of effort, but usually it has a positive connotation. Propel means to push forward. Answer is A. Arduous effort, an important word. It goes with you people. What does it mean? Difficult, needing a lot of effort. Answer is I. Scrutiny, noun, scrutinize, verb. Means what? Examine something very carefully or cautiously. Placate, part of speech, verb. Has anyone answered the sixth one? Yes. H, not H. What is H? No. Answer is not H. Sixth one. Placate. B is the answer. Stop someone from feeling angry. Bring down the anger of someone. Placate someone. Bring down the anger of someone. Decorum, part of speech, noun. Usually we say maintain decency and decorum. Behavior that is calm and controlled. Here you have to use H. Strive for success means what? To try very hard to achieve something. Verb E. Strife, tussle, synonyms. Violent or angry disagreement, between two parties or two people. Surge can be a noun, can be a verb. It has two or three meanings. What are you left with? A sudden and great increase in something. If you have got all the 10, you should be very happy because you're testing after 24 hours. What is the word of the day? Vandalism. Vandalism, noun. The crime of intentionally damaging property belonging to other people, but generally public property we damage, then it is known as vandalism. These schools are known to be vulnerable to vandalism. Vandal, noun. Noun, there are two forms. Vandalism, the act of damaging. Person, vandal. He is a vandal. A person who intentionally damages property belonging to other people. Example, vandals smashed windows and overturned cars in the downtown shopping district. Downtown means the main market, business center of a town or city. Vandalize is a verb form to intentionally damage property belonging to other people or public. When I got back, my car had been vandalized. Synonyms: defacing, destruction, trashing. Trash goes more with hitting. Antonyms: build, construct, fix. Here, fix means repair. Mend also means a repair. That's all for today. Hope you guys have got enriched. Have a nice day. Do remember to subscribe and share. And today also we have a session at 7:30 p.m. There is a session, vocabulary practice batch. Yesterday the response was overwhelming. A lot of students responded during the live session. I expect the same today also. And 6, we have the paid batch, a foundation course for all competitive exams. The enrollment is still open and it is useful for